Hey, what's going on, everybody? Steve here, Rake and Profit over at rakeandprofit.com, coming back to you with another video. And I wanted to make this video because I just put my second property under contract. So if you guys have been following my journey for a while, you know, I started selling on eBay, Amazon, Craigslist, local buying and reselling over 6 years ago, quit my job working at the Cracker Barrel. And over the years, I've been able to make some really good money with e-commerce, internet marketing, affiliate marketing, Kindle publishing, but mostly e-commerce. And over the last couple of years, I've really been looking into how do I get out of the rat race? Because there's a lot of people who make good money, but why are most people at the end of the day broke? And I realized it came down to two things. One, most people spend more money than they make. And two, they don't invest in their future. So a couple of years ago, I started investing in my Vanguard account. I opened up an investment trading account, and I started investing into index funds and investing into my SEP IRA. So that was one thing I did. And also about 8 months ago, I purchased my first two-family investment property, and I bought that as an owner-occupant, which means I rented one side out to a tenant and I live there. So essentially I'm living, right now I'm actually living rent-free, and I'm making about $500 a month because I brought in a roommate as well. So that property is doing really well. About a week and a half ago, I was outside, I was with my employee, and we were picking some stuff up at my house and putting it into the U-Haul to go out to the new warehouse that I just got. If you guys haven't seen that video, check it out. I just invested in a 1,250 square foot warehouse, and I'm using that for my eBay business, Amazon business, and getting into pallets as well. So that's exciting. But anyways, I was outside and I was looking around, and all of a sudden I saw this guy 2 houses over digging a hole in the front yard. So I was like, what's going on here? He went into his pickup truck and he pulled out one of those real estate signs and he jammed it into the ground. And I said, holy crap, there's a property 2 houses over, multifamily, up for sale. So I went right up to him, went out of my comfort zone and said, hey, what's going on? I live a couple doors over. Is this for sale? He said yes, gave me the real estate agent's number. Long story short, we went over and looked at the property. It's in immaculate condition. Met the tenants. The tenants are great. The property's in excellent condition, great roof. Good bones to the house, beautiful backyard, nice two-car detached garage. I mean, everything looks great in the house. The only thing that is going to need to be done eventually are the furnaces, but the hot water tanks, they're good. The kitchens are remodeled, the floors are redone, the walls all look great. There's no leaking. The basement's amazing. It's an excellent place. So we've been negotiating the last couple of days and finally put the property under contract. So I want to share that with you guys. And I also want to share with you guys a couple of tips when it comes to real estate investing, okay? So there's a couple different types of investors. There's people who buy, fix, and flip. There's people who buy, fix, and then rent. There's people who just buy and rent for massive amounts of cash flow, typically in D and C neighborhoods. Those are neighborhoods that typically aren't the most friendly. There might be some violence, there might be some crime, things like that. But those neighborhoods, you can typically make more cash flow, but you sacrifice long-term appreciation. And a lot of times you're dealing with tenants that might cause you some problems. That's a generalization, but might cause you some problems. Typically a little harder to manage. And then there's me. I'm a long-term investor, and I'm willing to sacrifice some cash flow to be able to acquire a property that's easier to rent, a higher quality tenant in a sense. And again, guys, I'm generalizing some of these things. So I know people are gonna be like, hey, Section 8, this and that. Again, these things are generalizations, but if you do your research and you talk to other investors, I'm not making this stuff up. If you talk to other investors, typically when you get into D neighborhoods and C neighborhoods, and I'm talking about neighborhoods that are gonna have more crime, they're gonna have violence, burglaries, different things like that, you're typically going to be dealing with more issues. Not always, but again, it's a generalization. So found this property, it's very easy to manage. It's only a couple doors over. It's in excellent condition. Both units are already rented, and it's not cash flowing a ton. Each door is probably gonna cash flow about $250 per door. The cash on cash ROI is around 8%. So not the best, right? This isn't a home run. This isn't a jackpot But I had quite a bit of money sitting around, really not making much money, nowhere near 6, 7, 8, 9%, right? So was looking to acquire another property. And again, I did, but I'm not acquiring the property to cash flow massively. Of course, you want cash flow there for many different reasons, right? To be able to cushion repairs and different things that come up. Also, to have a good cash on cash return, right? So you want to have cash flow there. But for me, I'm really looking long term, the longevity of the investment, and definitely really, really excited about it. Now, the deal's under contract right now. It doesn't mean it's going to close. Things could happen with the appraisal, things could happen with the inspection, things could fall through with the financing. There's 1,000,001 different things that could happen, but just wanted to share this with you guys because I know a lot of you love selling on eBay, you love selling on Amazon, and I know that, like I said before, you probably realize that most people out there aren't broke because they don't make good money. Usually they're broke and they don't have money when they're retiring, and they don't have money down the road, or they don't have money now. Is because they don't, one, know how to manage their money, and two, they don't invest their money. So of course, before you get into any type of investment, you've got to do your research. There's 1,000,001 ways that you could get burned with real estate. There's 1,000,001 ways you get burned with stock investing. There's 1,000,001 ways you can get burned selling on eBay and selling on Amazon. So this video isn't to tell you to go out and invest in real estate, but it's to maybe open your eyes up to some opportunities out there and some different strategies that you could put forth to have yourself a retirement down the road. That's why I'm investing in real estate right now. I'm not investing in real estate to make a ton of cash flow. I'm not investing in real estate right now for the short-term gain. I'm not investing in real estate to replace eBay or replace Amazon. You know, I get people who are, coming up to me when I meet them, and they're like, wow, you're getting into real estate investing. Your whole channel is going to be all about real estate investing, right? You're going to quit your job, or you're going to quit eBay, you're going to quit Amazon. And I say to myself, not at all. Nothing's changing. I'm just investing the money that I've earned over the years instead of having it sit in the bank or sit in a CD making 3%, right? Or in an online savings account. Right now, the online savings account can definitely make you some money. So Ian says, come on, man, I don't understand this. What don't you understand, brother? Ask me a question. Wandering Veteran, what's going on? Good to see you. Hey, appreciate that, Michael. So yeah, it's definitely been a learning experience. A couple things I want to mention as well, since it's hot on my mind right now. When you are analyzing a property, it's not only about figuring out what you're going to get for rent and then only accounting your expenses as mortgage, taxes, and insurance. There's much more to that, right? So the main expenses you're going to have when you are, like the main static expenses you're going to have when you're investing in real estate is you're going to have your mortgage payment, that's your loan on your property, the taxes on your house, right? And insurance to cover your property. But those aren't the only expenses you're going to have. For example, in my area, we had a little hidden $160 a year tax, which is called a fire district tax. So you've got to call your town hall and talk to your tax assessor's office. You can definitely get some good information that way. Also, don't forget, you've got to account for 3 more expenses as well, which you're going to face investing in real estate as a buy and hold investor or as a landlord. You're going to face vacancy rates. Okay, so depending on where you live and how well you manage your property, people are going to come and they're going to go, and there's going to be turnover in your property. So you want to account for vacancy rates. Some places, 2 to 3% you can get away with. Other places, it's going to be 5%. Others, if you're in DNC neighborhoods and there's a lot of turnover and there's maybe people who are struggling financially, you might have a 10 or a 15% vacancy rate that you have to account for. So that's definitely something that you want to put into your numbers. Eons is asking a lot of questions, brother. You're gonna have to rewind that video and check it out. The second thing you're gonna want to account for is repairs. Now, I'm not talking major repairs such as furnaces, roofs, changing the floors, foundation, right? That could happen, but let's hope that you hired an inspector. But repairs such as doorknobs, changing doors and locks, maybe redoing the tile, painting the walls, changing out the carpet, basic repairs and I guess upkeep like that. So you want to account for another 4, 5, 6, upwards to 10%, depending on where you live in your market, okay? So we already talked about accounting for your mortgage, tax, insurance. The next thing we talked about was vacancy rates, right? After that, we talked about repairs. And then lastly, you want to make sure to account for what's called capital expenditures, okay? So capital expenditures are going to be your big repairs. We're talking about your roof. We're talking about your furnace. We're talking about maybe your hot water tank, even though those aren't super expensive. Maybe we're talking about replacing your garage or something to do with your garage, or maybe your driveway. These are things that are going to cost thousands of dollars, and all of these things are going to have a life cycle, right? Windows, maybe the vinyl, painting your house, different things like that. So those are some of the things that you want to account for. Once you account for all of your expenses, there's going to be a couple other ones as well, such as your water bill, right? Paying your water bill, other expenses such as landscaping, snow removal, maybe any payment processor fees. There's a bunch of different things. So you've got to do your research, right? So once you account for all of your expenses and then you account for your income is going to be your rental income. Then you want to analyze a couple of different things. One thing you want to analyze is your cash on cash return. So how much are you making on your cash? So in general, the stock market over time has been known to make what, like 6, 7, 8% over the long haul. I'm not talking year on year. I'm not talking about the last 10 years, which has been like 400%. But over the last 100 years or however long the stock market's been around, it usually averages what, like 6, 7, 8%, maybe a little more. I think real estate is somewhere around like 10% on average, something around there. It's going to depend on your area and appreciation. There's certain places in California where it's appreciated 1,000%, right? So you want to analyze what your cash on cash return is going to be. You know, if you got your money in a CD, you're going to be making 2-3%. If you got your money in a savings account, just a normal one, you're going to be making 0.001% or something like that. So your cash on cash return is very important because there's always an opportunity cost when you spend money, right? So that's something that you want to consider. Also, you want to consider your cash flow. So we talked a little bit about cash flow. Cash flow is going to be your income minus your expenses. That's what you're left over with. Sometimes your cash flow is going to be a little higher. Sometimes it's going to be a little lower based upon capital expenditures that come out of your pocket, repairs, vacancy rates, so on and so forth. But you want to make sure, as a general rule, I've heard, at least in my area, you want at least a $200 cash flow per door in a solid neighborhood. Now, my neighborhood, I would call it a B neighborhood. It's probably a B house in a B neighborhood. If I drop down to a C neighborhood, I'd probably want more, like maybe 250 or 300 a door. If I drop down to a war zone or a D, and again, I'm generalizing, I'm not trying to be offensive, but if you read any real estate books, this is how they classify them. I'd probably want 400, 350, 400, maybe even more per door. I have some friends of mine who are cash flowing a couple $1,000s on their house on like 3 or 4 doors because they picked it up, they fixed it up, they got it cheap, they got it from a foreclosure. So there's a lot of opportunities out there. I found this house directly from the MLS, which is typically the worst way to find the properties. And when I say worst because that's where everybody's looking. That's where most of the competition is going to be looking as well. So in the future, I'm probably going to put up like we buy it now. We buy houses signs. We're putting out flyers. We're really starting to network more, because if I would have posted flyers around my neighborhood, I probably would have got this house even cheaper. And again, I didn't get it cheap. I got it market rate. But for my strategy and for what I'm looking to do, it works. The numbers work. It's cash flowing about $250 per door, give or take. It's probably going to be closer to $150 to $200 at first because some of the rents are low right now. So I'm going to probably try to do something over the long haul. But yeah, I mean, overall, really excited about this opportunity, and hopefully I was able to add some value to you guys in this video. If you're wondering how much does it cost to get into like becoming a landlord, long-term real estate investing, buy and hold, rentals, there's a couple different ways that you can get into properties. There are FHA loans, which are typically 3.5% down. So that's 3.5% down. So if you want to buy $100,000 property, it's going to cost you $3,500 down, plus closing costs and various things that go along with it. So that's probably like the easiest way to get into it. Also, there's something known as conventional loans. Usually with conventional loans, it's about 20% down. If you're dealing with multifamily, sometimes you got to put 25% down to get a better interest rate. I got it on the MLS, Johnson. So I ended up putting 25% down on this property. And, you know, after this property, I'm going to be slowing down a bit because I'm really starting to drain my cash. I probably have enough cash for one more if I wanted to, but I'm probably going to hold off for another year or two to stack up some more cash on a property. Or if I do get another property, it's probably going to be an FHA loan. It's a two-family. It's a two-family property. It's a side-by-side unit, 2-bedroom, 1-bath. The property's somewhat small. It's the same as my property. It's about 1,632 square feet. Has a nice big backyard, detached garage, 2 split-off patios. Definitely a very nice property. It's in really, really nice condition. I mean, everything's updated in the property, from the floors to the kitchens. It's a very nice property. So, no, it's not going to be Section 8. It's just going to be traditional rent. Hey, Eric, appreciate the love. Hit that like button. Rideshare says, don't be a Danny DeVito. I don't know what that means, but you're going to have to help me out with that reference. Raycon, I sent you a message about ties on Facebook. If you could please message me back. Yeah, I'll check it out. I got you, brother. Junkman, research your prospective tenants. Yes. So right now, the tenants are month to month. I've already met one of the guys. He's a great guy. We've actually built a friendship already. He's starting a YouTube channel. So big shout out to Daniel if you're watching. But when you take over a property, there's typically a lease that's already in stone. Now, the leases on these are month to month. So, you know, I'm going to be keeping the tenants. I've talked to both of them. They're great. And, you know, they've been there for a couple of years already. But yeah, from what I've learned, and I haven't had to go through this yet because both properties I've purchased already have had tenants in the units. So I haven't had to go through the process. But when you are, based on my research, I haven't done it yet, but when you are looking for a potential tenant, the number one thing you could do, and this is huge because if you do everything else right and you F this up, you're done. You've got to screen your tenants. So you've got to check their background. You want to check their credit. You want to make sure they don't have any evictions, because people who have really good credit take pride in their credit and they don't want an eviction. They don't want their credit to get hurt. So doing your research is probably the biggest thing when it comes to renting properties. It's a risk though. When you take on somebody else's tenants, you have no idea who they are. But one tip that I can give you is when you're looking through a property that you're wanting to invest in, and let's just say that there's already tenants in the place, you can tell a lot about a tenant based on how they live. So is their place clean? Is it a mess? Does it have any weird odors? How does the condition appear inside? Are the walls all dinged up? Are there holes in the wall? Does it look like, you know, there's a war zone going on in there? So that's one way that you can start to kind of get a feel for the tenant. Also have a conversation with the tenant as well. How's things going? Is there anything I can do to help around? What's your experience been? Talk about maybe their job history. Now be careful. There's certain things. There's discrimination laws that are out there. So you don't want to discriminate against a person, and you want to be very careful when you're getting into real estate not to ask the wrong questions. So you can't ask questions about, you know, do your research. I don't even want to get into it. I don't even want to get into it, but you guys know what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. But you can't, you can't discriminate against race. You can't discriminate against age. You can't discriminate against disabilities. You can't discriminate if somebody's pregnant. You can't discriminate if they have kids. There's a lot of different things. So definitely do your research and be careful what you say. But yeah, that's the update. Who knows? I might come to you an update and say, you know, the deal fell through, which is a possibility because there's inspection, there's appraisal, there's finalizing the financing, all that good stuff. But yeah, just want to keep you guys posted because I know a lot of you guys are crushing it on eBay right now, crushing it on Amazon, starting to stack up that money, and you're looking for ways to build a future for your family and build a retirement for you and your family. And I've been getting into real estate. It's been pretty fun so far. Haven't really had any huge hiccups. Had a couple problems with my current tenant, but they're super cool, and I think it's just part of the game. Big learning lesson: build your team as you're getting into real estate. That's what I've been doing. It's been helping a lot. Get yourself an agent, a really good agent. Do your research. I went to Bigger Pockets, and then I interviewed a bunch of people. You guys can see those videos on my channel of me going through the process of purchasing my first multifamily. Find a handyman, find an electrician, find somebody who can help you fix up the houses, odds and ends. Have you considered other types of financing? Investors in my area have done very well, may provide you with some other options. I haven't really looked into it too much right now, other financing options. But after this property, again, my liquid cash is going to be drained quite a bit. Not a ton. I mean, it's not going to be all drained, but I'm going to have to be very smart with my money. I'm not going to be able to just travel and spend all my money, and even though I'm pretty responsible in general, but I'm going to have to watch it a little bit, which is cool. It's good. Keeps you humble. Hey, thank you so much, Eric. I want to know, is anyone here investing in real estate right now? Or are you interested in investing in real estate? I would love to answer any of your questions. And by the way, if you guys are enjoying me updating you, hit that like button, show some love. I would definitely appreciate that. It helps to get this video out to more people and helps to get this YouTube algorithm showing me some love as well and getting this out to more people who can help. Patrick's planning on it. Patrick, what's the number one thing that's holding you back from getting started? Wandering Veteran says, interested in learning more, but not soon. Yeah, it's good to learn. You don't even have to get started anytime soon, but it's good to learn some of the basics. What the hell said 22 years in real estate. Tom O'Connell's loving this. I'm about to. Four-Eyed Hustler says no capital. Yeah, that's why it's so important, guys. Capital, having money is so much, it's so much easier to make money when you have money, because there's a lot of barriers to entry in different investments, such as real estate if you don't have money. But there's ways to get into real estate with no money down. There really is. I'm not going to get into them because I'm definitely not an expert. I don't have the experience, but I've read a lot of books, and there's certainly ways to get into real estate with no money down. How does it work with your income coming from your business rather than a traditional job? I had no problems at all. So that's one limiting belief that a lot of people have. They think that it's going to be very hard to get a loan because you're self-employed, and it could be the case if you can't prove it. So that's why it's important to show as much income as well. It's one of those things. You don't want to show a lot of income because you don't want to pay a lot of taxes, but then when it comes to getting a loan, you want to show the income because there's certain, parameters in place that financing companies are going to have when it comes to getting loans. So they're going to want 2 years tax returns. They're going to want 2 years tax returns. That's the big key right there. So as long as you have tax returns and as long as you're making enough income to cover their parameters and their rules and the things they have in place, then you're going to be perfectly fine. Credit is another important thing. So I know there's a lot of young guns watching right now who have no credit. Maybe they've been told, don't get a credit card, right? Don't go into debt. You don't have to go into debt with a credit card, but you do have to be responsible. If you're not responsible and if you can't control yourself, don't get a credit card. But getting a credit card is one of the best ways to build credit. All I do personally is I stack up my bills, use my credit card, and I have two. Well, I have more than two, but I have two main ones. I have a personal one and a business one. And after I spend money on the credit card after a month, I pay it off in full each and every month. And I actually set up an auto payment so it pays it off in full automatically. Now, you do want to go through your credit cards and make sure that you don't have any fraudulent purchases or anything fishy going on. But that's how I do it. So you want to build up your credit. You want to have 2 years tax returns. And then you want to have cash to be able to cover the down payment. Now, again, FHA loan, 3.5% down, or conventional. The only downside to an FHA loan is it typically takes a little longer to close. They usually have more rules and regulations, and you got to fix all these different things for the most part. And you're going to get hit with something called PMI, which is private mortgage insurance. And I believe that they hit you with that, which could come to a couple $100 extra a month. I think they hit you with that until your loan's like 20% paid off or something like that. Don't quote me, but that's it. Coco Just Me says, make sure you keep all your receipts for tax write-offs and keep your mileage and so on and so forth. You will want and need all the write-offs you can. Absolutely, great tips. What the Hale says, best is to work with your local community banks. They work best with self-employed individuals. So here's my 2 cents on that. Find a real estate agent who is also a real estate investor doing as close as to what you want to be doing in real estate. So I really spent a lot of time vetting and interviewing real estate agents. And again, I don't make this stuff up. It's just from research. And I learned that you want to work with the real estate agents who are already investors, who already have all the contacts, because then when you get in bed with them and you build a relationship, they can share their inspectors with you. They can share their loan officers. They can share contractors. They can share all different types of contacts. And that's been invaluable in this business so far, networking and building relationships. And I'll be honest with you, I've done a good job, but I can do a lot more. One thing I want to start doing is attending my local real estate investors association. I want to start networking more, and I want to start getting around people who are way smarter than me, because let's just be real right now, and I want to be 100% transparent. I've got some basic knowledge and a little bit of experience, but I don't know shit. Like, let's just be honest. I've only been doing this for 8 months. I'm getting my second property. So I've read a lot of books, but there's so much more that I need to learn, right? So you got to take everything I say with a grain of salt. You've got to do your research, and you've got to get around people who are much smarter, right? You got to get around people who have been doing it for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. The same applies with eBay and Amazon. That's why you guys watch my channel. I've been doing eBay and Amazon 5, 6 years, right? So then once you level up and you get past me, then you want to find someone who's a couple notches above me. And then you want to, you level up and get someone a couple notches above them. That's the key. That's been one of the biggest things in my business lately, is networking. Get around people who are smarter and model success. I was just having a conversation with a buddy yesterday who's looking to start a YouTube channel. And I said, listen, don't try to reinvent the wheel. Model success. Let's reverse engineer what people are doing already to have success in your niche. And this is outside of reselling. And let's reverse engineer and figure out how we can model them and spice things up a little better. And I think that's the same thing that applies with real estate investing. So have I been doing a good job? Absolutely. Am I excited about real estate? Absolutely. But do I have a lot of room to improve and grow and get better? 100%. Right? So that's the way you got to look at things. Looks like I had a little super chat that came in. I want to shout out Krillin A76. Month to month makes it harder. You want to get them out. Now, I'm keeping my tenants, right? I'm keeping my tenants right now. Again, like I said, I'm probably going to have to raise the rent a little bit, and you don't want to scare people off, especially if they're good tenants. But the cost of vacancy is expensive, and that doesn't come from me. That comes from other people who have been doing real estate for much longer than me. The cost of vacancy and finding somebody new, there's expenses that go along with that, and there's risk that goes along with that as well. So, do I like month to month? Not really. Would I prefer a longer lease to kind of have that in stone? Absolutely. But roll with the punches, learning the best I can, and maybe I'll be able to get some longer term leases with this property if it closes. So definitely excited about that. What the Hell says, real estate is the best income. You can only get certain tax incentives with real estate investing. So yeah, I'm not an expert when it comes to taxes and real estate, but I know there's some benefits depending upon your income level, and I know you can depreciate and write certain things off. So yeah, there's quite a few benefits to real estate, right? Let's name a couple. There's tax benefits. There is appreciation, right? That's your property going up in value over time. Now, it's not as much as people think. A lot of times it maybe keeps up or goes a little higher than inflation, but in general, real estate's been known to appreciate over a long period of time. So there's taxes, tax benefits, there's appreciation benefits, there's cash flow, right? So that's making money every single month over your expenses from your income. So on this property, it could be $300, $400, $500. Isn't huge, but there's some cash flow. And last but not least, there is loan pay down, right? Amortization schedule, right? Isn't that it? I'm trying to get a little smart here, but that's loan pay down. So in this property, not only am I going to be cash flowing a little bit of money, nothing huge, not only am I going to have some tax benefits, not only am I going to have potential, and I say potential because you don't know, long-term appreciation. It is a great neighborhood, but you're also going to have your tenants paying down your mortgage right? So after 5, 10, 15 years, you're building equity. What is equity? This is the value of your property, and this is what you owe on the property. In between, that's your profit. That's if you had sold the property minus fees and everything, that's your profit over what you paid. So there's quite a few benefits, but don't get me wrong. There are quite a few risks with real estate investing, right? Quite a few risks. There's no guarantees. There's going to be volatile markets. Times your property value is going to go down. You're going to have tenants that might destroy your property. You're going to have tenants that might not pay. Your property may go vacant. Wow, your property goes vacant. You're still paying the mortgage. You're still paying the taxes. You're still paying the insurance. You might have to evict tenants, right? They might destroy your yard. There's a lot of different things that could go wrong. And then, of course, there's the investment of your capital, right? So is it best for you to invest in real estate, or is it best to hold your money and invest in products in your e-commerce business? That's up to you, right? I've been blessed and I'm grateful enough to have enough extra money over the last couple of years to now invest more into my SEP IRA Vanguard account, to invest in the property that I purchased 8 months ago, to now invest in another property, right? To invest in different businesses and opportunities. But that takes time. So you got to evaluate where you are. Right now, real estate investing might be the stupidest thing that you could possibly do, or it might be the smartest thing you can possibly do. It depends on your goals, and it depends upon your finances, right? So the deal that I just got into, if you weren't making good money and maybe you're just skinning, you're just getting by, the deal that I just got would be a horrible investment for you. Why? Because it's not gonna make a ton of money over the short term. For you, what you might wanna do is maybe if you needed quick cash and you're willing to deal with some possible headaches and really getting hands-on on managing a property, is maybe getting a property that's in a C or a D grade neighborhood, or maybe you just find a great deal, right? But getting something that has more cash flow opportunity. So getting a property, maybe you buy it for $130,000. Get a property that's a 2-family, maybe they're both 3-bedroom, 1-baths, maybe they're both making $1,200 a month, and you're cash flowing $1,000 on it. Easy, but there's always risks involved. So you've got to understand your goals. My deal, which is pretty solid for me, could be crap for you. And a deal that's crap for you might be great for me, or vice versa, right? So you've got to understand your goals and what you're trying to do with your real estate investing. Why are you investing in real estate? What's your goal? Is it to make money now? Is it for retirement? Is it long-term? Is it cash flow? Are you looking to make a big sum of money, maybe $20,000 or $30,000 profit over the next 6 months? Maybe you want to get into, buying, fixing, and flipping, right? Or maybe you don't have much money, but you want to get into real estate. Maybe you want to become a wholesaler, right? Maybe you want to find deals and then wholesale them off to other investors, right? If I would have had somebody who put this deal under contract at 10,000 below, and they wanted to wholesale to me and the numbers worked, I'd happily do it, because now I've got a deal. So they make 10 grand and I have a deal. I don't know all the laws and logistics behind it, but that could have been an opportunity where you could have made 10 grand, right? But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, like, comment, and subscribe. If you guys have any more questions, leave a comment down below. Make sure to show some love, smash that like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.